Santosh, thank you so much for joining me on a banter. I have been dying to speak to you for a long time. Co-founder of Zeer AI, an agent and buyer-led GTM platform built for, well, buyers and sellers of 2025. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, 2025 and beyond. And so good to be here and looking forward to our conversation, Billy.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have been following you and interacting with your LinkedIn posts for a while now. And the LinkedIn post that really caught my attention was in the beginning of August, where you talked about Gartner and G2
Mhm.
and the demise of their share price. And it brought a smile to my face. These platforms, Gartner analysts, as much as other analyst platforms, are antiquated. They're in the dinosaur era. And buyers aren't trusting them anymore. Companies are really finding it hard to justify the $50,000, $60,000 licenses. By the time you speak to an analyst, you need to really book it weeks in advance. By the time you get the report or the godly magic quadrant, it's not relevant anymore. So this is just
Totally.
one example of how the whole buying and selling and researching experience has just moved on. So what's next? If we can't rely on them, what can we rely on?
So just to further elaborate on what you said, since I wrote that post, Gartner stock price dropped another 30% last week. So
Ouch.
these companies were built in an era where there was less information. And now
Right.
we are drowning in information. We need to make sense of what's out there, right?
Right.
So we don't need gatekeepers to information. We just need better technologies to shift through a lot of information that's out there, right? So the number one reason why buyers and sellers don't end up working with each other is because of lack of research,
Is it
right?
lack of
Because
research or lack of trust in the research?
so lack of trust, yes, trust is the biggest part of research because there's information everywhere, but then you
Exactly.
don't trust it, right?
Yep.
We'll talk about that. But the more trusted information that buyers and sellers get access to, the more they know about each other, the more likely they will do a transaction, right? So we spoke with about 150, 200 buyers since January,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we're trying to really understand how buyers think about research.
Okay.
And it was very clear that trust was the biggest missing factor.
Hmm.
You can run a search. So clearly, tools like ChatGPT or LLMs make a lot of sense of the information out there, right?
Okay.
But they do lack trust because it feels like it's generic information. It's
They
not
hallucinate.
authenticated. Right. Some of it is machine generated, right? So we are building some technologies to get around it. And just quickly, how we are bringing trust into research
Right.
is we look at how some credible experts and thought leaders are talking about the same topic,
Okay.
and we code them and we bring them into the output, right?
Hmm.
And we find that when users read the same content, same playbook, same output from LLM, but it cites some excerpts that their people that they respect are talking about.
Okay.
That certainly increases immense trust in the
Influencers are huge still. Yeah. If the
right.
credible influencers recommending your product or talking about your product, absolutely, they still fly.
Right. That's our solution to building a new research product for the future.
So basically, if I want to know about a B2B platform that will enable me to make transactions or to set up a shop very easily for each one of my events, so I would go to your platform and hear what other influencers have to say about similar payment transaction platforms.
Yeah, it's a little bit more comprehensive. You can start with something like, I'm having a churn problem, like a
Right.
business problem. So you
Okay.
can share what is top of mind,
Okay.
right? And then we do AI research on what's top of mind, but we also bring in some content that your favorite influencers and experts are already putting it out there to solve the same problem that you're having this week or this day.
Hmm.
But we also share this problem with agencies and
Right.
vendors and say, hey, this person is having this problem today. Do you have anything to add? Right? And if they do, then it starts becoming a very organic way to kind of a lead, basically, right? Where
Okay.
you can later sign up with that agency. So I think the future of sales is where buyers and sellers work together to solve a problem, and then a transaction happens, right?
Interesting.
Right. We are building a platform where agencies and sellers will engage with buyers all the time, much earlier in the process, um, and do a lot of research.
So I'm wondering when the cold calling will really die, like, and the download that ebook in order and
Right.
getting people's details, and then that follows up obviously always with a cold email or a cold call, or both. I wonder when that was really will really die.
Right.
And there isn't one person, not one, that will tell you that hey, I really enjoyed speaking to that sales rep. I
Right.
wish that sales rep would call me 10 times a day. It doesn't happen. And yet companies are still engaging in that because they have that, they need to listen to me now as opposed to let's nurture a relationship. Do you think that AI will help with that as well?
Right. To your previous question on when will cold call die, um, it certainly has outlived the. Uh, we never imagined we would still be doing cold calling. AI has made it worse, right? Because not just AI, the availability of data and automation
Hmm.
has just made it worse, right?
Right,
AI should have improved it, where people got more intel, so they called less numbers and got the same output, right?
right,
Instead, what vendors are doing or users are doing is using AI. They're just calling more
right.
to get the same output, which is kind of the like totally going backwards. Yeah, I do think we are reaching a pivot point where there's going to be backlash on both email and phone, and uh, pretty much all marketing channels suck right now. Right?
I agree. Yeah,
Nothing that worked earlier works right now.
yeah. That's fair. That's why I think that a lot of companies are going back to the old school events,
Right.
because the only place where they can really meet
Totally.
their target audience, supposedly.
But we'll get to a point where all of us will have an AI agent,
Hmm.
and if a rep calls me, the rep is calling my AI agent, and the rep's AI agent is calling my agent. So our agents will talk to other people's agents, and then I don't mind if you call my agent 100 times a day, as long as you don't call me, right? Now that agent will qualify. It will know what I really want, and it
Hmm.
will qualify the conversation that's really important to me. And the agent will build relationship with other agents. And whenever I need something, I'll tell my agent. It'll go out in the world and get some info or connections. Or so I think that is a good use of AI, where you filter out
Yeah,
the noise, and then
yeah,
all the conversations you do is just high quality.
yeah.
No more beating in the dark.
No, that's great. That's great. I would love to have a personal assistant that actually knew me. The reason I don't have a personal assistant right now is that I feel it would waste more time than actually afford me. Um,
So I don't think we can generate trust with the AI or agent in this way. But one of the problems that can be solved through agent to agent communication is just reduce noise. 50% of go to market budgets go for top of the funnel investments, right?
mhm,
In the marketing and sales. A lot of that cannot be attributed.
right.
But if you remove the noise, then all of a sudden, and sellers and buyers get on a call or like this, and actually do the selling. This is where trust is generated.
Mhm.
But then if I am doing 20 calls a week and only two of them are really valuable, the other 18 is noise, then I don't do a good job with the other two, right? But if those two are the only, or I only do 5 calls a week, then clearly I can do a very good job of it, right? So the AI will just go from 20 to 5 best.
You also differentiate though with the technology, obviously, and if if people are enjoying a platform and the platform experience more than a competitor's, then they'll be more inclined to buy for that. But I agree with you on large scale investments where sort of like your company's future is dependent on this. I think it would be
Right,
a far stretch to
right.
actually sort of like rely on
So
AI to do that.
you bring up a great point on differentiation through technology. So AI has already destroyed that, because the cost of building a tech is going down
Mhm.
to like zero. Because
Right.
now people can build a tool like Salesforce in 2 weeks, which Salesforce took hundreds of billions of dollars and decades to
Can they
build.
do it that well? I mean, seriously, can they really create a tool like Salesforce with all the bells and whistles within 2 weeks? Or can they do something
So
almost as good?
yeah, almost. No, so let's say it's 80% as good. So what
Okay.
happens is AI generates this code right now. So you can point it to any like SaaS tool and say, make a copy of it, a rip off of it. So it just
Right.
copies, and then you put your own logo and start selling CRM for lawnmowers, or like
Yeah.
CRM for plumbers, or some vertical that Salesforce will never go after, right?
So as a founder, what's your incentive in 2025 to build a product with that kind of outlook? I mean, it's like you're almost telling me, Billy, I know that my product is going to be amazing, right? And it's going to be
Right.
so amazing that within several weeks we're going to have competitors copying it.
Exactly. No, this is what keeps me up at night. And I saw this firsthand when we did RB2B. We were the first to launch RB2B,
Yeah,
and within like 8 months, and we got to like 5 million in a year.
yeah.
But within a year, we created about 15 to 20 replicas or
So what do you
competitors.
do? Why be a founder? What am I missing?
So
I don't want to do
here is
that.
how we are thinking about building, right?
Yeah.
So it's not technology you can copy, but you can't copy a brand. You cannot copy the go-to-market motion, a community. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot copy the network effects or viral effects. And that's exactly what happened with RB2B. It's still the market leader in its category
Mm-hmm.
because we created this brand, and the podcast that Adam does and all the content that he writes is very hard to copy him, right? You can copy
You
the
think that's the
technology.
differentiation?
That is the all future differentiation will come from go to market. Um,
Oh. No, but you're talking about the founder led as well, which
Oh,
you're.
big time founder led, thought leader. But
Yeah.
brands are being built through founders and individuals and execs. Look at Elon Musk and Tesla. We can hate or like him, but either way, we're giving him attention. And it's such a big company. But
Yeah.
because of founder led, it totally impacts his stock price and so on. And smaller companies definitely, I think that's the future of brand building, is all founder led. And how do you copy that?
True. So, but what you're also saying is that when a VC is looking at the management team of a startup, they're going to see, okay, they've got a strong technical founder, they've got an excellent idea,
Right.
they've got with the CEO has a strong business acumen, but is also she are charismatic and they
Totally.
can lead a company, and that charisma factor and marketing factor and the PR factor is has just gotten a massive bump into your chances of success.
Totally. You put it so well.
You're assuming that because you can do that and the select few other CEOs can do that, that everybody is comfortable in that role. And I know so many founders who are just not. They're
Then
like, don't
I
want to
know
go on
they're
camera,
not.
they don't want to be interviewed,
Yeah.
they're a nervous wreck. And what do you do?
Not everybody is good at everything. But on the other hand, it doesn't have to be the CEO. It can
Yeah.
be a VP of marketing or somebody else who takes these meetings and calls. You can't get around it in whatever shape or form. Somebody has to step up from the team. It doesn't have to be the CEO. Clearly.
You write a lot about playbooks as well.
Mhm.
And this is something that I also believe is dead. I think that playbooks, because there's been a fragmentation of the market and because each company can be replicated. In the past, we'd have cybersecurity clients, and if it worked well for this cybersecurity client, then
Right.
we'd take the same 80% for the next cybersecurity client, apply the 20% of differentiation, and we'd know budgets, and we'd know the amount of content, and we'd know which events they're going to, et cetera, and it would work, right? Because we'd reached that playbook. I can't remember the last time, seriously, that we had a playbook that we're like, oh, it worked 6 months ago, it's going to work now. Every single time for every single client, we're having to reinvent the wheel, and we're taking small nuggets out of previous things that have worked, but it's nothing like having the playbook that we used to sell religiously and market religiously. I think
Isn't
the
it?
new playbook is there is no playbook.
There's no playbook. Oh, there's
I
such a
think
hot take. Give you a great example, and because I've tried to think about the mechanics behind why don't it work. That worked 10 years, 20 years ago. say a founder raised $50 million and they got 4 emails from vendors saying, hey, you just raised all this money, let me show you how to grow. And
Yeah.
that's very contextual. The CEO is already thinking about what to do with the money and how to
Yeah.
hire a team. And so those emails really helped. And that was a good playbook. And only a handful of people could do this because you needed different kinds of data to put together. Fast forward to today, the same CEO that raises $50 million, they get 250 emails.
Yeah.
Now, none of those emails work. This guy make sure that all the emails end up in spam. So
Yeah.
this is an example. Playbooks also has to take into consideration your strengths, not other people's strength, right? You
Right.
can't succeed by doing something that another team decided to do because they're so good at it, right? You have to look at what are your weaknesses and your team's strength and your market positioning and where you are in the maturity cycle to get to the next stage, and then design a playbook, right? So we are entering a sophisticated era.
Used to universities giving us textbook formulas, and the playbooks for tech, marketing was a part of was somewhat part of that. Yeah.
Right. So the playbooks are getting complex, and you cannot just put it in 7 steps. It has to be designed for each company and team in mind, and I think that's a very good thing.
If we move on to predictions, I'm really interested to hear what your predictions are. I won't say 5 years. I don't even ask that anymore in job interviews.
Right.
Like in a year or two time. So like my prediction for what's going to be different about marketing and sales compared to what's today is the acknowledgement of time and patience. That you can't build a brand overnight, that marketing to and the selling process doesn't happen overnight. Everybody knows that it doesn't happen overnight, yet marketing campaigns are pushed as though it can happen overnight. And in a year or two from now, we're going to be in that space where companies are buyer first. They're realizing what it actually takes in order to get a sale in motion and moving far more towards the customer on that front. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my front, but all the signs are showing that there's this, like they're getting a slap in the face because they're not managing to force that SDR to speak with the client, or the client to read every word in the ebook that they've just published. So that's my big prediction, and AI will be a big part of that because, as you said, AI agents are going to filter information one from each other. So Billy is going to speak to Santosh's AI agent, and he's going to say, "Yeah, this podcast really interests me in being participating," or "No, I don't want to talk to her." So that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, you and I think alike. So I think the the best marketers and sales reps will survive and the rest will go away. So in the last 20 years or so, the automation, so a lot of the marketers and salespeople hid behind automation,
Right.
right? They felt like automation could do all the work and we can stay shallow and
Yep.
not go deep.
Yep.
But like you articulated, now the best ones that survive will go very deep,
Yep.
right? And I believe AI will take over the shallow part, right? And bring insight. But the real hard work will be done by humans. But only a handful of them can get so good at their craft. In the beginning, for the first 10, 15, 20 years, there was still net new market or greenfield territory to go after.
Right.
So there were a lot of SaaS buyers that were buying it for the first time. So then, even if you were inexperienced seller or you use automation, just send bulk of emails, you could catch them. But
Mhm.
now there's no more net new buyers. 100% of the market is comparative displacement. They've all bought many times, and a lot of those buyers know far more than the sellers about their own product.
Right.
So they're coming on these calls demanding like complex answers, which the sellers are surprised they were not willing or ready to provide
Right.
those answers. Right? This is kind of is an impetus for some of the changes we'll see in the coming years.
Interesting times ahead where the buyers know more than the sellers. That's a very, very good point there.
We,
Exciting time to be a marketer. I think the frustrated marketers, or the marketers that are scared, and I speak to a lot of them, are the ones who are looking for the playbook. And every time I speak to them, I
yeah,
say, "There is no playbook. Go out and create your own." I mean, who's going to tell me that it's wrong? Nobody's tried it, so it can't be wrong. And that's why it's so exciting to be in marketing. I mean, who needs another white paper, Santosh? Who? Tell me. I want his name. I don't believe anybody does.
Yeah, totally. Times have changed.
Exactly. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I am continuing to watch you and learn from you. And so, thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you, Billy. This was a terrific conversation. I look
Thank
forward to
you.
doing it again.
Thank you. Speak soon.
All right,
Bye.
cheers.